And as I said, this recording will be available to everyone after the class. So yes, for the purpose of recordings, I welcome you all again to this course of you know web programming, which is a wonderful course. What you say that it's a wonderful world which we are about to dive into, and all of you will be coming, of course, with some different level of understanding, different level of understanding of this course. I will be just talking about some of the important aspects of the course today. I will talk about some of the like course outline, of course, and the course addendum that we have, what types of exams and what types of things we'll be having. I'll be just talking about all those things. So first of all, to start with, my name is Nauman Atif, and I have been with Seneca since January 2021. By the way, I joined Seneca as a visiting faculty on January 2021, like exactly 1 year before. And then at that time also, I just took first of all this Web 222, and that time I was just teaching Web 322 as well. But after that, I just got the chance to teach Web 322 again in summer, and I was not there in the later part of the year because I had some other commitments. So I missed one semester, like the last fall, and I'm back with Seneca. So other than Seneca, I've been with Conestoga and Fanshawe College here and there, and I'm doing my own consultancy, some software development here and there, some website development, and etc. But I've been in this teaching field since last maybe more than 15 odd years, around 15 to 17 years, and working on these web technologies since they were they were very young, and still they are, some of them are still there in fancy, but again, I've been working on them since a long time. So I'll be your instructor for this semester, and of course we are online. So I am located in Kitchener Waterloo. Specifically, I'm located in Kitchener, if you people know about that, and maybe some of you would be somewhere around Kitchener and Waterloo. I'm located over there, and I would be just with you in this this online course, and I'll try my level best to make this course as much as fun for you, because this is, web is fun. Learning web is, I think, is one of the funniest part of this, because you get your outputs very quickly, you get your outputs with little codes, and you always remain very motivated when you are working on web technologies. Other than some of the languages where you have to wait a lot of the seconds or sometimes minutes to have output of something, here you will be going very fine, and you'll be just quickly looking at some of the outputs. Now, about your introduction, since we have got 33 people right now, so it would not be possible to ask everyone's name. But what I would request you people is that if I pronunciate your name incorrectly, not correct, please, you can just unmute yourself and correct me over there, or maybe if you want to just go away, because I'll try my level best to just pronunciate your name as much as correctly as possible. But again, if at times if you feel that I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, you can just stop me. So what I'll do is that quickly just pause the recording for us again. So now share screen. Okay, are you people able to see this ICT screen and with Seneca like course outline screen? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Those who have replied, thank you very much, Akshit and Kunal. Right, so now you see here that this is one course that we have to start, and this course is Web Programming Principles, the course name. Of course, course code is very important, Web 222, and this is basically the course code for your classes. Now, rest of the things, if you see that this is the credit status, that whichever diploma, whichever program you are in, it has just introduced that one. So this is an introductory course in web programming using JavaScript, CSS, cascading style sheets, HTML, and DOM. And by the way, those who have worked in that, these are so interesting technologies. And let me call them, all of them, if you combine all of them, they come under the front end type of technologies. And I'll talk about front end, back end technologies as well. But usually, if you talk about these three technologies, you'll say that, okay, we are talking about three of the front end technologies, front end development of them. So we will be studying about JavaScript, a whole new world of JavaScript. JavaScript, not only for web, we'll be talking about JavaScript is as good as for our system programming, for some other things. JavaScript is becoming a source of so much important things, and it's becoming omnipresent with the passage of time. Then we have CSS. We'll talk about cascading style sheets. Wonderful thing, how to make your websites look beautiful, prettier, because without that, your websites look very bad, very simple. And anyhow, we'll talk about HTML, of course, which is the base of all, which is the mother of all scripting programming, scripting languages of all website development languages. This is basically mother of all. And then we'll talk about the DOM, document object model interface. Okay, let me just start my video as well. Looks like I just accidentally stopped that one. So I'll be just talking about this. This is an introductory course, but I can assure you that if you work with me, you will be, and I'll just guide you at the proper point of times, that you will be able to work more and more in advanced form of JavaScript. We'll be discussing some of the advanced features as well alongside. CSS, again, we'll start with some of the basics, but we'll try to go to as much as advanced level we can go, and you will be surprised to see that how much work you can do with the CSS that people are doing these days. HTML, of course, is the base of all. As I said, it's the base ground you will find everywhere, but including or adding DOM to it, document object model, is something which is, those who are unfamiliar, I would just like to tell them this is one of the API that we'll be using to interact with our HTML, interact with our web pages, and create cool effects for our websites. So we'll be just talking about that as well. And then we have this is credit status, and you can just look at the IPC 144. I hope you all have done that. I don't know about the structure of your. This is very interesting. The modes are in class lecture. So this has not been updated. So by the way, there's no in class lecture. Of course, this is online, but these are online lectures. But we will have some in class exercises, of course, hands-on activities, and you will find them really interesting. We might be having some amalgamation of the theoretical section where I'll be discussing most of the things, and then one of the class that is on Thursday, we will be just maybe doing some practice questions and hands-on activities to get more fun concepts of those. So room configuration is all online. It's not that. So learning outcome, this is important, and I wanted to discuss these with you people because you should be very clear where we are and why we are discussing these different things. So explain the purpose of the World Wide Web and HTTP protocol. This is something very interesting and very important. And when we'll just start our discussion for today, you will see that you will be surprised to know lots of things that you were taking for granted. But you will see that we have got so many interesting things on our disposal. Develop web client applications that conform to current standards and best practices. This is very important. Not only develop websites, to make websites that conform to the current best practices and standards. So you would have heard that, and you would have worked in HTML before as well. But and again, most of you, there will be maybe 80-90% of you who have already done something in HTML, who have already done something with CSS, who have already done something with JavaScript. But when we will start our discussion, you will see that you'll be surprised to know that at few places that why you are using this tag instead of that tag. You might be taking that for granted. Okay, I use bold or I use something. It's not a problem. But you should realize later on that there are few important things. I hope I am audible, because looks like Brian has put up a question mark. Is there a problem with my sound?
Yes, there was, but it's okay now.
It's okay now. Thank you very much. So that's it. No, let's just stop for 30 seconds. Okay. Right. Thank you. So Brian, that's good. Always mention that if there is something happens. Yeah, but always let me know if something happens. Anyhow, so what I was saying, that there are lots of things you as a web developer should know, that why we are using such thing instead of some other thing. What is the current best practice or the standard that people are following? Not because someone wants it to be that way, because the world will look at your web page, and if you are using again X instead of Y, people will say you have made a bad web design. I'll talk about that, current standards and confirm current standard. Demonstrate the competence with a document object model to present content for end user consumption or interaction. As I said, this document object model is something which has which has played an enormous important role in our web application development. Now, this document object model, interacting with your HTML, talking to HTML. We have started talking to HTML by using this DOM, and that you will see that how we can talk about that. Compose documents, utilize JavaScript to implement interactivity in the web application. As we see that JavaScript is one of the very important consideration of our course. It will be used for the interactivity, the interactivity of web application. When user comes, what should happen? When user scroll down, what should happen? There are lots of behavioral aspect that will be covering of the web pages. Compose documents for web page using hypertext markup language. Of course, this is the far core purpose of our, will be the core purpose, how web pages are marked up, how web pages are designed, how they are being programmed. Employ cascading style sheets, of course. Those who are familiar, they know HTML is used for structural representation of the tags, while as their design, their colors, their everything that will come from out of the CSS. We'll be using CSS cascading style sheets, and we'll talk about that in a. Solve a wide range of common web client programming problems. This is another very important aspect, and I'll be talking about some of the client programming problems I'll be talking about today, and we'll talk about when we'll be discussing some of the protocols and things like that. Okay, so the outline is something like this. We will be talking about internet architecture. Today we'll talk about these specifically. I will be talking about these specifically. Internet protocols, what are those? Internet application protocols and services, HTTP specifically, an overview of how it works. I'll tell you that how this all web, arena works, how this all web stack works, how when you click on, when you ask for something on the internet, how your resource, how your request goes, how the response comes, like that. So there are lots of issues. So I'll talk about internet architecture in general today, and in today's lecture, maybe we'll be talking about that. But I will try my best to just reach to certain point where you start coding for yourself. That also we'll just try to do. Then we'll talk about JavaScript, and of course we will discuss JavaScript first before HTML. So there is a specific reason behind that. Usually in courses you will find that people first discuss HTML, then CSS, then JavaScript. But this course is a bit upside down, and why? Because we have, like in this course, the approach is taken where you will be familiarized with all the nitty-gritty programming aspects of the web, and then you will jump into the web and you will just start talking to the web in that way with JavaScript. So first of all, we'll be discussing JavaScript, and we'll see introduction of it, what are the types used, the syntax, operators and statements, which I will be expecting that you people have had a chance to look at that in your first programming course. Now, if I stop over here and if I ask you, you will find that, for example, syntax, operators, statements, and then functions. If I ask you, you people have heard these things before, like in some of the programming, or what type of programming language this the course that we are talking about, the prerequisite, IPC 144. So have you people discussed about these programming aspects, like, the loops and the operators and the statements and then these functions, etc. Have you people heard about that in any other programming language? Maybe.
Yes, sir, we did.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hi, thank you very much. So you people have done that. So again, that will be of great help here, because here we'll be just introduced, or we will be just, we'll getting this help from you because you have that programming concept. So we'll be just introducing the JavaScript, and then we'll be implementing those concepts that you have learned in any other programming languages onto JavaScript, and we'll be working on that. Now, the new things that you might find if you have not worked in object-oriented programming languages, we'll find objects. Did you work in object-oriented programming language before? Just a question, another quick question. Karin or anyone? Did you work in object-oriented world? Okay, no, I have got one no. Okay, so this will be something new for you. And this will be the real takeaway for you people from this, from the first part of the course. And I would more emphasize on this part of the course. You have an OOP. Okay, of course, you will have an OOP course, Aryan, and you will discuss that concept over there. But I would emphasize that in JavaScript as well. Why? Because, of course, this is a new concept. This will be a new concept for you. So I will emphasize on that as well, alongside some of the basics as well. You might have heard about these regular expressions. If not, I'll give you a complete lecture on regular expressions. You would love that, because regular expressions these days have been doing a wonderful job, wonderful things in most of the web or machine learning type of applications, if you have heard about them. We'll talk about the scope of different things, the scope of variables, scope of lots of things, and then we have closures, different closures we'll discuss. Prototypal inheritance is another very important aspect that is related to the objects or the object-oriented programming. Inheritance, as you would have heard about that. So we'll talk about in JavaScript. So it's a whole loaded JavaScript material. It would be in the beginning. Then we'll come to, as first of all, we'll discuss it, as I said, upside down, we'll discuss JavaScript, and then we'll come to the HTML and HTML DOM. All about HTML and DOM, as I said, I might be just giving you a quick review of that, quick overview of that. That we'll discuss how to lay down the structure of the web page and how to talk to that structure. I'll talk about that in this HTML form. So in HTML and HTML DOM, since we'll be coming from JavaScript learning, we would have heard, like, we have learned JavaScript already. So when we'll move to this part, we will first know HTML, how to structure our web page, and then how to talk to the web page. That would be done by using the DOM and the JavaScript. I hope it's making a bit of sense to you people, because we'll be just gluing together the HTML plus the DOM. Yeah, it's document object model. It sounds fun. Aryan, you're right. And there are some other APIs as well. And by the way, so there are, like, there's a table object model, DOM, and like that. So there are some more interesting names anyhow. But anyhow, this DOM will be playing a very, very important role for our web development. Then we'll come to CSS. And those who are familiar, CSS is cascading style sheets used for giving colors and design colors and some of the cool looks to the website. You will be surprised to know that a simple CSS will change your web page altogether, and we'll see that. So we'll talk about CSS, how to work on that, what are the rules in CSS, and like that. And then we have some certain web client programming topics, DOM modifications, HTML forms, image galleries, AJAX, a very interesting thing, media, audio, video, canvas, adaptive and responsive layout for print and mobile target. So these are all web client programming topics that we'll talk about when we are, like, already familiar with most of the content that we'll be just discussing. Okay, so not textbook required. We'll use authoritative online resources. We'll be using online resources. Reference material, you can see Mozilla Developer Network start page. This page is a very interesting one. You can find that one. There is Web Education Community Group Wiki, w3.org. Those who know, W3C is the organization or consortium that runs most of the web standards. You can just look at these comments and okay, and then comes the main part, right? So the course, the great part. So I hope you people are familiar with that. I would not be going into too much detail of that one, because you people are familiar with this grading structure, that how much from 90 to 100 you are A+ and like that. I'm expecting all of you to be here if you want, but if you don't want, I would be very happily placing you somewhere here. Of course, it's up to you that how you just respond to all of those assignments and quizzes and things like that we'll be covering up. Anyhow, so if you see here, so these are all those academic policies. You can just have a look at it. Please try to do your own work. Whenever you find something, when we'll find something that has been taken from someone else, or maybe something else, it would be a problem for you, of course. Assignments. So I'll talk about the addendum shortly. We have assignments and tests, and this final exam, usually, I don't know about this semester. Last semester, there was no final exam, by the way. Rather, there is a final sort of assignment, or another assignment that is a week-long assignment. So people usually, there was no exam in our course last time as well. I'll have to just look at that addendum again, because that would be mentioned over here. Cheating plagiarism, your chair is Kathy Dumansky. You would have heard about her. And then we have this cheating and plagiarism, discrimination and harassment. Of course, all these policies you will need to have a look at it. Okay, now what I'll talk about is that quickly web addendum, because that web addendum will tell us a lot of things. Okay, so right. So this is our web addendum, and these office hours, as I have mentioned over here. Let me just take this away. These office hours that I mentioned over here, I'll take my meeting away from this one, because so that I have my complete page in front of me. So office hours is Tuesday all day after 12 noon. So after 12 tomorrow, I will be available again. But you can, I will, as I told you, that I'll make a Microsoft Teams link. and you can always come to that team and you can say that I need some help. So I'll be available on Tuesday all day after 12 noon. On Wednesday, I will be available from 12 to 2. Like it will be a 2 hour. So again, Tuesday is more specifically, I would love to have your questions on Tuesday or Wednesday again, if you feel comfortable, you can, or by appointment. As I said, sometimes you might not be able to join in both of these timings. So you can drop an email, you can drop a message on the Teams, and I would just give you some appointment and we can have that. Okay, so yeah, this typically is the right representation. There will be 5 assignments of 6% each, right? Which makes it 30%. Then we have short tests or quizzes. So there will be around 9, and maybe at times it might become sometimes maybe sometimes we just miss out one or sorry. Can you repeat that? There was someone saying something. Am I audible to everyone? Can anyone please let me know in the chat window? Oh, interesting. I'm not getting any response. Looks like I'm not audible. Oh, so Kunal, there was someone saying something, and I don't know, and everyone has gone away. I don't know if everyone is sleeping other than you.
Yes, sir, everyone. I can hear you.
Oh, yeah. So why you are not responding? Last, thank you. Right. Okay. So we will have these quizzes, and as I said, that these quizzes will be maybe maximum there will be 9, and if they are 9, there will be 5.56% each, right? But at times, as I said, sometimes we miss one here and there. So if I miss, it would be minimum there will be not less than any 7 quizzes, right? So there will be around 7 to 9 quizzes specifically. Like ideally, we will have 9 quizzes, but sometimes, as I said, some break or something happens. And so final assessment, which is not an exam, this will be a final assessment, and this will be of 20%, and that will comprise of your 30% assignments, 50% quizzes or tests, and 20% final assessment. So good news, there is no exam, specifically no big exam of that. So short test and quizzes, and I'll show you that when you will be getting those quizzes. If you had a chance to look at that one, grading policies there, academic policies are there. You can just have a look at them. Now this is the fun part, main part starts. So this week 1, we'll have course introduction. We'll talk about dev tools we'll be using. We'll talk about introduction to JavaScript. We'll talk about today. And then week 1 materials from Web22. So we have a website. Of course, you all know about that. If you don't know, I will show you that right now. So we have this website, web222.ca. Do you people know about that? This is a link, and I'll share that link in the chat window. So this is a course website that you will have available, and you can always look at. So this has all the weekly notes. So for week 1, this is the week 1 notes that we'll be starting today, and I'll talk about these all. But this is a document that you should always have a look at it. So we'll talk about this week 1 materials from this one, and if there is something I will be posting, you can have a look at it. And then we have, so I'll just have a quick overview of that. So week 2 will start on January 17th. JavaScript functions, built-in global functions, variable and scope enclosures. Week 2 material, assignment 1 will be released, right? So assignment 1 will be released, and that would be of 6%. So when it will be required, if you see, assignment 1 is due in the week 4, like week 4. Assignment 1 will be due. You know what does that mean? Assignment 1 will be released in week 2. Next week I will release assignment 1, and then it would be due by 4th week. Now, when your week 3 starts, we'll be still discussing JavaScript, string, arrays, and regular expressions, and then we will have our test 1 in week 3. I'll announce prior that when it will be. Usually, it will be in the 2nd session mostly, or maybe sometimes in the 1st session as well. So, but again, I will announce that. So week 3 will have our test 1, and usually what we do is that material from week 1 and week 2 will be covered in this test 1. Got everyone? So I'll just let you know that what material we are covering. But just keep in mind the last 2 weeks material might be covered in that test one. So test one is of 5.56%, as I said, and then it just goes on. And you can see that all those test two is basically in week 4, for example. And so you see that starting from week 3, you almost will have a test in every week. So I would announce that which section it would be. But as I said, that ideally there should be 9 tests. But as I said, maybe here and there, if we are missing something, I'll just let you know that maybe we are stopping at 8 tests or 7 tests, whatever. But minimum there will be 7 tests, by the way. So then test 2 comes. Assignment 2 will be released in this week. Assignment 1 will be submitted, of course, due. Assignment 2 will be released. And you see, for assignments, usually you will get a 15 days time. So 31, like January 31 week, it has been released, and now it will be due by February 14. That means you will always get around 15 days for that particular assignment. So this is all. And then your study week is February 28th, by the way. And you know that I think that this week 7 has one off day, the family day, if I'm not wrong. I'll have to just check. I think family day is I think this 21 is the family day, whatever, maybe. So that will be an off day. So for that week where there is an off day, we might have problem in conducting the test. So we'll just see that how we can go on. So but study week from February 28th. So 28 is your study week. Then and I just missed out. So week 5 we'll start what is HTML, and that would be another fun language that will start. And we'll talk about how about we can just really paste different things in HTML. Then we'll talk about DOM, which Aryan find. Yeah, exactly. You will have time to complete that. So week 7 we'll talk about again DOM in more detail, DOM tree, creating, modifying. It's all fun, And then after that study week, we will have this next week, week 8. By the way, that will, if you count that one as well, this is week 9. But anyhow, they have not counted that. That's why it's coming 13. But anyhow, so this next week we'll have it start March 7. CSS will start CSS, and these are all the things that we'll be discussing in the CSS. And then we'll be talking about the forms, client side using HTML5 features, JavaScript for validations. We'll talk about Ajax and JSON, which is very, very important, very interesting. You will start sending data, receiving data on your websites. That will be fun, and you will enjoy that. Then we'll have our final assessment in our last week, which will be week 14, by the way. Why? Because they have missed out one of the week over here. Week 8 is a study week. So typically, this is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So 14th week will final assessment, and you will have final assessment of 20%. That will just mark up the end of our course. So having said that, should I hope that you people have got a general idea of what we are doing, general idea of how we'll be doing our evaluations, general idea of how we will be just approaching our course. I hope you people have got this concept a bit of clear. Okay, thank you, Kunal. Thank you very much. So this is our addendum, and if I'm not wrong, Irina, I have shared this one. I have shared this addendum with you people in one of the announcements. Is that correct? Yes, Pareen, thank you very much. So Pareen is saying yes, I have shared that one. So you have got this addendum with you. You can always keep that one. And as I told you, we can always. So there will be, as I said again and again, Teams, Microsoft Teams group that we will be using for particular thing. Okay, so now let's talk about something interesting. These are the lecture notes for the week, and I will just start today some of the important aspects of this one. And I would expect you people to cover a few of the interesting things. Okay, so let me just see. We have so we started at 1:30, so it's 2:23. Let's take a quick 5 minutes break. It's 2:23 in my clock, so I will be back after 5 or 6 minutes, 2:28 around. And then we will start discussion on these material and everything, right? So you also just take a quick refresher, maybe a cup of tea or something, and a quick walk. I'll just do some walk from my chair as well, and let's come back. And please remember that protocol, that whenever we join back, just say a hello, hi message, just for the attendance purposes or like that. So I'll be just stopping now for 5 minutes, taking a quick break. and then we'll be back and we'll start discussing some of the fun part. Thank you very much everyone for joining in, and let's meet again after 5 minutes. I'm stopping or pausing recording. Please remind me that recording is stopped and we need to always start that. So this is the week one material where we'll be talking about the internet architecture in general, and we will see a lots of good things over here. Now let's start talking about this. Internet is not something that I would say that you are looking at for the first time. Like, right now we are using internet. It's omnipresent wherever you go. You will find that now this internet has become one of the basic necessity in our life, and especially after all this pandemic happening, we know that we have been doing this from far and wide locations, and we are having all those online lecturing and all those things by using this internet. So internet is everywhere. But now today, as I said to you, that I'll be talking about some of the aspects of internet that might not be that obvious for everyone over here. Now, a quick question, first of all, to have a basic understanding of understanding of my audience, that how people feel about it. I would like to, so I will be asking some of the questions, and let me just, do something. I'll open up a notepad and I'll share these lecture notes with you people. Don't worry. I will first of all just show you. So I am calling it lecture 1, and we have January 10, 2022 today. Right, so we are talking about this lecture 1. So I will be asking some quick questions to have a good understanding or good, understanding of my audience. So first of all, as I said, internet is not something new. There are lots of things that we are doing internet. There are wonderful things that we are doing using internet and web. Now the first question that comes over here is, what is internet? Now this is the first question with us. What is internet? How you people can, any one of you can just define internet, that this is internet. How would you define that? And I would like to have definitions from most of the people in the chat window. You can just write down that one. No need to unmute yourself because it would become difficult. So can anyone write in the chat window, how do you define internet? What is internet in your view? What do you think? Anyone? What is internet? I'm not getting any response in the chat window. Global information repository. Mansoor, thank you very much. It's a very nice definition. A group of connected networks. Andy, excellent. That's wonderful. Any other definitions? These are the 2 definitions from Mansoor and Andy Carter. Anyone else come up with some definition? What is internet? Is a form of connecting networks with different locations. Chirag, wonderful. But I need some more. With the help of internet, we can communicate and share data from anywhere to anywhere. That's wonderful, Pareen. And it's one of a web that connects everything. Excellent. Now there are lots of definitions that might come up with internet, but let's some of you have already given this definition. It's nothing new that I'll be showing, but let's call it network of networks. I just always remember this with this definition. Network of networks. Yes, a group of networks that provide information communication facilities provided. That's wonderful. The internet can be considered as network of networks. Just the simplest definition that you can remember. It's a one giant network that connects millions of networks together. So this is called internet. Now, the second question that comes is, what is web? Web. Can anyone tell me what is web? Or specifically, if you are familiar, World Wide Web. Because we just called www. What is web or World Wide Web? Can anyone just let me know what is web and what is World Wide Web? Or maybe someone can say that these both are same. And I need answer from most of you. Like again, there are a few people who have replied to my last question, and I'm happy about that. So Mansoor, Andy, Chirag, Pareen, Simon, and Prabhuji. So a way that information can be shared from device to device. Aryan, that's wonderful. A network that connects the whole world. Mansoor, are you talking about internet or are you talking about web? Because this looks like more, okay, you are talking about web. Then this definition might not be the correct one. But anyhow, network which connects the world together. Navjot, that's a very wonderful definition. Anyone else? That's good. So people are coming. Aryan, your definition, you say that I guess a way that information can be shared from device to device. That looks a wonderful definition. But let's see what others say. I need maybe some of you also. Akshit, collection of all the networks. Good. But still a group of websites and web pages. Ilnaz, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful definition. Anyone else? Any other definition that you have? Okay, Chirag says a network which runs the world all together, which connected with one modem. Okay, Chirag, looks like good. I'll just talk about. So let's. I will take one of the definition from your, like, a way of information can be shared from US. Now listen about that. World Wide Web, or WWW, is the way. I think Aryan give that definition. Yes. Is the way through which we can share information. Now, okay, I will give this definition, the nearest definition. Okay, someone says collection of websites or web pages stored in web servers and connected to local computers. That's wonderful, Harnoor. Now, Harnoor, this is very specific definition that you have given, and it's correct one. But let's talk about this. It's a way through which we share all the resources, share information, or I should say, not information. We share resources amongst ourselves. Now, as you said, Harnoor has said, yes, you can say the collection of web pages over there. There is a collection of pages, collection of web pages or websites that we use. And there are lots of collection of big things. Now, one of the things is that people started confusing network with web. These are two different things, by the way, please remember. And I would give you some definitions as well. And if you look at the notes, you will find that why we are discussing this. You see, here is the inventor of World Wide Web, whose name is Tim Berners-Lee. And here is the inventor of internet, whose name is Vint Cerf. Now, as you people are, some of you already started confusing these two definitions. You see, this is a very interesting joke. I did not invent the internet. Tim Berners-Lee is saying that I did not invent the internet because I invented World Wide Web. The World Wide Web, HTML and other protocols that are used to share, to access the resources But that World Wide Web needs the infrastructure set up by the internet to access all those things. So World Wide Web is one way of accessing the resources on the internet. Internet is that infrastructure or that structure that runs on top of it. Like again, World Wide Web is a way to access things. Internet is a way to provide the structure or the architecture. Does that definition make sense? So they have made a very nice, this little joke that Tim Berners-Lee, he's Tim Berners-Lee. If you people see that the person without beard, he's called, like, his name is Tim Berners-Lee. You can read it in yes, and WWW is part of internet, you can say, but WWW is the sub part of internet, which is basically which runs through the internet. So now, Tim Berners-Lee is saying, I did not invent internet. Please forgive me. I have not invented internet. And he says, I did not invent. His name is Vint Cerf, and you can just look about these two people later on, because people start confusing these two. So please remember now, World Wide Web is a sort of virtual directory or a way to access resources, to share resources. And internet is that giant infrastructure that basically World Wide Web uses to access resources from. Does that make sense to everyone? So I will just mark it over here, because people usually just start confusing collection of web pages. So World Wide Web works like with internet. Again, so internet will provide us this facility to work on World Wide Web. So we will have a collection of web pages that are on World Wide Web. You see www. So there are World Wide Web is one way of accessing those things. Now, why we are discussing it over here? Because as I said, this World Wide Web, it works its own way. It has its own way of accessing. It has its own way of running on the different things. Now let's talk about something else. I am taking you out of the internet world for a second. For a second, I'm taking you out of the internet world. You know, the other thing that we use are the applications that we download on our system, on our mobile device, or maybe on our hard, like, you know, computer systems. So there are certain applications, there are lots of applications, there are lots of application software that we download in our like, you know, machines or on our you know, mobile phones. Now a question comes over here, and you have to honestly answer this one. Number of devices connected together and WWW used to share resources. Aryan, yes, you're right. How many applications you installed in your either mobile or PC? PC means like in your computer, not, let's call it no computer. During last 30 days. This is the question. How many applications did you install in your mobile or computer during last 30 days? An honest answer is required. A rough idea. I will say, for example, something. Because first of all, if you ask me, I would say I think it's around 1 to 3, not more than 1 to 3. Now I need your answers. This is my answer. 1 to 3. Roughly 5 to 7, Christopher. Good. Anyone else? 5, Mansoor. Good. 4 to 5. 2 to 3 past 30 days. 2, Indrapal. That's wonderful. None. That's wonderful. None. Normally 8, 4, 3, around 10, 5, around 10. Aryan, you're saying. Okay, Harsh says 1. That's wonderful. Harnoor says 8. Right? Again, a rough idea. We can barely remember that how many applications. Okay, now now another question. That's wonderful. I've got the answer, and let's try to, you know, maybe just take out the average of all those answers. So maybe the average sits up somewhere at roughly, I'm saying 4 applications, because some saying 2, 1, 0, 1, 8, 10, etc. So I'm just taking, maybe let's take it 5 applications on average. Now here comes my question. How many web pages you visited during last 30 days? Okay, and my answer is don't know. I don't know, because there are lots of 1,000, 500,000, so many, numerous, more than 100 plus. Can't remember. Parin, you're right, and as I said, I don't remember. I don't know. I just okay. So everyone, listen about that. Why I'm asking this question? This web has given us a very different way of thinking about the things. Why we are reluctant in downloading an application and running our system? Because we know that it will come as a binary application.
Just a minute.
Hello. Someone is saying something. I think looks like by mistake they are unmuted. I don't know who is that guy, but I'll have to find out. Oh, Christopher. Christopher, you want to say something? No. Purvesh, you want to say something? No, but you are also unmuted. So please try to remember to. No problem. No problem. Remember to unmute yourself, because it looks like. Okay. So, you know, there are numerous number of web pages that we visit. Okay, Christopher, no problem. No issues. So now please, you see that it means that web is providing us an environment where we have got lots of web pages, and we very easily access our web pages. You know, even then, let me ask another question. Let me ask you another question. If I send you an email, even I am sending you, you know, I am your teacher, and I send you an email with .exe attached to it. Will you ever run that .exe? If you are smart enough, you will never run that .exe. And even my web or my email won't allow me to, you know, attach a .exe. But if some reason, if through some way, if I attach the .exe file and I send you an email, you will never trust my exe. Is that correct? Aryan, are you getting where I'm trying to take you people? Basically, I want to tell you that you will never run a .exe. But if I share a link with you, a link of a website, you will very easily open that. Usually you will open that, because I have given www. For example, mozilla.com. You will say, okay, it looks like a trusted something, and you will open that one. Now, web has its own security mechanism. Web has its own, you know, mechanisms to handle all those things. But I'm trying to tell you the omnipresence of web applications. Yeah, exactly. Of course, you're right. So omnipresence of website. So how basically it handles all those things and how different things act in this different, this architecture. We'll be talking about that one. So the web basically enables us to do all those communications over the internet. Web enables us to, talk to each other, and web uses different things that it basically handles. So now let's talk about something which is called this, let's start with something interesting, and let's call it protocols. So there is, we are discussing this, all infrastructure of the web. So first of all, we are talking about the protocol. What are protocols? Whenever we open a website, if you see that whenever you have this website, when you open this website, and I look at the complete that one, the protocols, the first thing that you see in your URL is this HTTP or HTTPS. You people know about that? So you see that protocols, usually you see HTTP or you see HTTPS. These days you will see mostly HTTPS. What are protocols? Pareen, very nice. Protocol is a set of rules
and regulations.
Yes, of communication. How you will be interacting or how you will be sharing data with each other. Set of protocols is basically called what? The protocols. Like that set of rules, they are called the protocols. So how my system will be sending data to the other system, how the other system will be receiving that data. So HTTP or some of the protocols that are used are over here. Now, there is one command that I hope you people will know, and I want you to just follow me up if you don't know the command. There is a command, if you are working on Windows, this command is trace RT, trace route, trace RT. And if you write trace RT, and if you are on Mac, you will have to write trace route, by the way. Trace RT and you write google.com. Just press this trace RT and google.com. See what happens with your request. Let's see what happens with your request. All of you just please try that one. Trace RT if you are on Windows and trace route if you are working on. Right, William? Yes, so Daniel, you have to write trace RT. Let me just write that in chat window. I've just typed this one, trace RT google.com. Yeah, you have to open the command menu. In the Windows, if you have Windows, you have to open the command menu. So CMD, if you write .cmd, you will get the command menu, command prompt. Right? In command prompt, just write trace RT. Trace complete, Pareen, that's good, wonderful. It's not complete for me till now. You see that I am having these different hops. It said maximum 30 hops for me too. Yes, Aryan, just keep on, just look at that and look where it stops. Trace complete, Simon, that's wonderful. That's wonderful, trace complete for you. Now, I want to tell you something about the protocols, very, very, very important. Why HTTP or why HTTPS? Now I have this 14th hop and still I'm not able to get to the Google. You see that I am being redirected from one server to the other to serve. So you know what is happening right now? I'm requesting google.com and I'm tracing the route to that one. Now I finally find this google.com, which is basically this. So now I would like, okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So now if you see that, how many hops did you people see? Can I get the number from everyone? I have 17. 30. Aryan says 30. Aryan, good. Okay, 8, 9, 14. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Anyhow, now let's talk about this, why we have discussed that. This is my router address, 192.168.8.1. This is my router address. This is my address, for example. And I am going to this from out of this to this location, then to this, etc., 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 etc. And finally, I'm reaching to google.com. Now, do you see that there are lots of systems that are coming between me and my other machine? So there are lots of people in between that can eavesdrop my information, that can look at my information. Now, this HTTP or HTTPS, this one is called secure protocol. HTTP secure. HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, the protocol used for transferring the hypertext over the internet. And HTTPS is also for the same purpose, but it does it in a secure manner. Now, this HTTPS does what? That whatever like terminal, whatever device in between looks at this data, it will make sure this secure HTTPS that my information from my system, from my router, goes to google.com without any harm, and no one in between would be able to make any sense of that, because I can hop to maybe multiple machines before generally reaching to the google.com. Does that make sense? So HTTPS does what? This protocol, secure protocol, will do what? It will make sure that my information is not interrupted somewhere, and even if it is interrupted, it does not make sense to any of the receiving machine, and it will make sure that me and Google are safely talking to each other. Because I want to talk to Google, if I'm talking through HTTP, I am talking, without any security, and someone can eavesdrop information in between. But if I am talking to, basically I am talking by using HTTPS, it means that now I am having this secure communication with other party, and now no one will be in between. So these protocols will enable us, first of all, these protocols enable us to do this communication between the different devices. Now, here comes a very interesting protocol, IP. And to specifically, if I say IP address, can anyone tell me what is IP address? Of course, you people should know that. It's a very easy one. IP address. What is IP address?
Internet protocol.
Internet protocol address. But what is that? What is IP address? Let me show you something. Do you see this weird syntax of 1.2.168.8.1? Do you see 10.75.74.2. Something like that? So what is an IP address? An IP address is the recognition or the address of every machine on internet, every machine that is present on internet. Yes, it's like your ID in the internet. And you're right. And someone says something, Aryan, an address that is used to identify. Yes, that is used to identify you on the internet. Now, this IP address are of different kinds. One is called IPv4, which usually we are looking at, and this IPv4 is in this form. It has some XXX as a, some value, for example, 120. You see 192.168.0.1, something like that. So it has 4 octets, like 8 bits of information here, 8 bits here, 8 bits here, and there's a little detail. What is this? These are all hexadecimal numbers or something like that. But anyhow, where it can go to the maximum, this 255.255.255.255. I will not be going into the much deeper details of this one, but anyhow, you will know that. So anyhow, and yes, IPv6, when we say, on the other hand, so it can only capture maybe maximum address that it can capture. IPv4 is this, because it has 4 octets. On the other hand, if you see that there is some address which is not coming over here, it's just giving the name, and it will come shortly. I'll show you. They're called IPv6. IPv6 addresses are in some different forms, and they have some different syntax like this, and they have more space so that more people and more addresses can be assigned. So if you are assigning with IPv4, you will be stuck at this point, and you cannot allocate any more addresses to that one. But again, IPv6 has been introduced, and you can just study that on your own time if you want. That IPv6 is providing us more and more facility to have more addresses and work on more addresses, rather than just working on some of the addresses as we have IPv4. So now the other thing that we have is IPv4 and IP addresses. 32-bit number. So IPv4 is the 32-bit number. If you see this one is called a 32-bit number. 32-bit means, again, 8, 8, 8, and 8. So it's 32 bits altogether. Okay, that's wonderful. So your class will go over to this one, and you will enjoy that one over there. But anyhow, here what we are doing is that we are just talking about this one. So first of all, we have talked about this protocol, HTTPS, and then we talked about this IP address, that there are IP addresses. Now, where these IP addresses are coming from, this is very interesting, and that is called domain or domain name. Domain name. What is domain name? Now, if you see that it is giving me this address for the Google, 216.58209.142. It's giving this IP address for the Google. So now, if you had to remember this one instead of google.com, how difficult it would be. So domain name is what? It gives us this feature that these IP addresses. So for example, if I copy this IP address from here, so this IP address is being basically mapped to what? Google.com. Are you getting that? So rather than remembering the number or the IP address of any of the resource, domain name provides us as a name that you can just replace with that typical number. So that typically gives us the domain or the domain name. Now let's talk about this one. What is the domain name over here? The web222 basically .ca. You can say that this is basically the domain name over here. We have got this domain name, right? So web222.ca is the domain name, and let's try that as well. Traceroute and web222.ca. Just press out that one. You people also just press that. How many hops does it show to you? Let's see. Aryan, 7 hops. Anyhow, so you can always check these hops, and you can just check that how many hops you are reaching to that particular location or particular web22.ca. So this is basically called a domain. And what domain does is basically, and typically this all collectively is called a URL. I hope you people remember, you people know that this is typically called a URL, and this is called Uniform Resource Locator. So you have this Uniform Resource Locator, URL, web address, and there is a domain name that specifically refers to a particular domain that you are accessing. So as we said, google.com is one domain, and then this key, if you say this web22.ca, this is web22.ca, this is one domain that you are trying to access. So these are basically these domain names that we have something. Now we have something else which is not visible over there. They are called ports. Port is a very interesting thing. Now ports are what? As we are familiar with this port when we say airport. So a place from there, airplanes just go away, a bus port or something like a ship port or something like that. So these typically show what? That typical area from where information. So port is what? When we are working in HTTP, the default port is 8080. Just remember, when you are working in HTTPS, the default port is 443. Now, ports specifically, yeah, exactly, and there are lots of things. Ports specifically are anywhere between 65,536, something like that. There are lots of ports that are available at our discretion. But when we say that we are working on HTTP, so let me tell you a very interesting thing. When I am accessing this website, let's talk about this web.2a.ca. So what protocol is used over here? HTTPS. So specifically, it is not mentioned, but specifically here is something written, which is not there, which is hidden. Why? Because web browsers recognize that. So if I press on that, you see, still I get my website back. But here is something very interesting. If I by mistake place, rather than 443, I place 80 over here. And I told you 80 is for what? 80 is for HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Aryan, thank you. Now, if I press that one and I press on this, enter, you see what happens. Why so late? It should quickly show me that I'm unable to access that. Why I don't know. No problems. I can do that with Google. If I access google.com, you see that google.com is coming with that one, and this is port. It should be 443, but if I do 80, you see that it's not opening the website. Invalid response. Why? Because I have not used the right port with that one, which is typically not there. And if I remove this port number from here and I access that, of course it will be accessed. Why? Because the port number, it will just recognize by itself, and it will just understand that 443 should be there. Are people getting that? So this is the intelligence of the browser. Yeah, by default, it will just go there. But you see, if you see here, you see that site cannot be reached. And why it cannot be reached? That I have given the wrong protocol with a wrong port number. So if I come over here and I say 443 and I press enter, you see I quickly get the website. Pareen, are you making sense of it? So it's basically a port which is invisible. But there is a time when we get to know that port. I know this is a very interesting question, very good question. So I know these are the default ports that we have, but we can, does Linux also have information on port? Yes, Aryan, just listen. We can define these ports by ourselves as well. Let me tell you a very interesting thing. How many of you know about this? Oh, rather than writing this, I'll say there is a little joke. There is no place on earth like 127.0.0.1. How many of you know this joke? Or how many of you know what does that mean? Anyone knows about this? What is this? There's no place on earth like 127.0.0.1. You would have seen t-shirts, people wearing t-shirts with this, sign on them, this written on that. Anyone has seen that? Or anyone knows what is special about this statement? Aryan, thank you. Aryan, but it does not make sense. What does that mean? There's no place on earth like localhost. What does that mean by localhost? Aryan, what do you mean by localhost? Exactly. This 127.0.0 can be called as home, and it can also be called as localhost. Now listen, what does that mean? It is called a loopback address of your own machine. It is also called the home address. What does that mean? When I say I want to access 127.0.0.1, so I am saying that I want to access my own machine from my own machine. Is that making sense? It is like I'm accessing the home from my own machine. So this statement you will find on some of the people's t-shirt. They will say there is no place on earth like home. We say that our home, there can be no other place like my home on the earth, right? So basically it's called 127. Now interestingly, we can use this HTTP, and I'll show you. You will be using that localhost : and we'll be using this 3000 port. Sometimes I'll be using this 3000 port. Sometimes I'll be using this 5000 port, or any port, whatever for that matter. There are lots of ports. As I said, there are lots of numbers that you can use. 5000 port. I might be sometimes using an 8080 port, 8080 rather than 80. But again, there are certain which are specifically defined for some particular communication. Is that making sense, Aryan? Someone asked this question that then how do we know? Yeah, Harnoor, are you getting that answer? That there are certain which are already defined over here, and then there are ports that you can define by yourself. That I want to run my communication on port 3000. I want to run this communication on port 5000. I want to run this communication on 8080 port, whatever. Here comes something very interesting. When you combine protocol with domain name. Oh, that's wonderful. Aryan, how do we know that? Aryan, you don't need to guess anything at all. This is all given. Let me just tell you. If I access a website, for example, I access website of Seneca. For example, I access the website of Seneca College. Now Aryan, you reply me. Do I need to guess which port it is working on after looking at the complete port? Aryan, you understand what I'm saying? You will still find some of the websites on HTTP. But again, HTTPS will tell me that, okay, the protocol that this website Seneca is using is basically 443. Why? Because it is communicating on HTTPS, sorry. You got my point? And usually we will be seeing some of the websites that will be on HTTP. You will have to use AT. If you don't use anything, it will by default. Yeah, it is by default for the website. You're right. Okay, so now let's talk about where I was there. I'll just talk about this. Right. So I was talking about this, this port. So I was saying protocol plus domain plus port. They collectively make something called origin. Now, origin is a very important. Origin is a very, very important thing, which becomes one of the wall of security or privacy or accessing authorization on internet. Listen, if I share a URL with you which says www.seneca.ca/Nomanati, there is very much likely you will definitely trust my URL. Why? Because you will say because it's on Seneca server. Seneca, I know that protocol is the correct one. Seneca is working on HTTPS. So Naman has shared a very legal resource. Are you people making sense of it? And if I share something, it's very easy to find the fishy websites that when you look at their domain, you will find very odd names will be there. Maybe the protocols is not correct, and maybe something. So you'll say, okay, it's a fishy website. I don't want to access it. Anyhow, if you access it, your browser is so intelligent these days that it will say, as I said in the beginning, if you remember, that if I try to send you a .exe file, my browser, my email server will not allow me to attach even. You know what I mean? But of course, if I send it to you, your browser, your email server will intelligently find out, and it will say it looks like it's a virus. Please be very careful in accessing that tool. Are you getting that? So whenever it is coming from a right origin-based security or origin policy, it is called sometimes, that origin-based policy will make sure that you are getting the right data and you are getting the right response. Are you people getting that? Is everyone with me? Now if you see here, there are some certain other things as well that I want to just talk about. Let me just if I click on that one, not really. Okay, I'll just talk about it. So now this is, you can just go through all these things. Domain name, human readable domain name system, which is the phone book, like again, as I said, that it will be just keeping all the HTTP's hypertext transfer protocol. What else do I want to discuss with you people? And that would be very interesting for you for today. Okay, so one thing that I want to discuss with you people here today is that, so the origin policy or the origin makes it ensures it that I am getting the right response, I'm getting the right things, I'm not getting the wrong thing. Now, another thing that I want to discuss over here is the request response side of thing. Request/response. What are request response cycles? This is very important. What is request response? When you write www.google.com on your browser and you hit enter, what we are doing, we are basically requesting. Basically user is requesting something from client. I am requesting something from server. Sitting on client, I am requesting. Whenever you write www.seneca.ca and press enter, you are requesting Seneca.ca. Server, upon get something, returns something. I get the website maybe. So what I get is basically called response. It is called request response cycle. When we ask something from internet, we are requesting information, and when we get something out of back from that one, we are getting the response from that one. Is that right? So we are getting a response back from the server. So it is called request response, and it's a very important thing. You have to remember, whenever you are asking as a client asking something, you are requesting something, and whenever server is sending you something, you are getting a response. You get a response back from the server, right? So that's called a request response cycle. And here I will just I will end with few important things. I want all of you to install this software called Curl. And I will just start from this point onwards in the next slide. Curl download. I want you to download this Curl software. What is this Curl? I'll share the link. Curl download. So use this URL and download this software Curl. And of course, please don't worry. It's a very legitimate one. I'm not doing that. So curl.s is a download according to your operating system. Or maybe you can just download from this one and download and install that. And if you successfully installed that, you will get something like this. If I go to my command prompt, and I write curl, for example, just curl, I'll get curl, try curl help for more information. So if you get this one, it means that your curl is installed properly. I would now ask everyone to just install this curl, because we have got some more discussion left for today, and I'll discuss those things in our next coming lecture. You will enjoy that one, and we will be just discussing few things over there. So I want you to download the curl. And I want feedback from some people who have downloaded and who have successfully just open up your command prompt, and you will see that your command prompt is working with this curl. And curl is saying that try curl -- help for more information. Daniel, download as per your operating system, or maybe if you download any one of them, that would be fine for you. Maybe for this one or just for whatever. No, you just download that one and download and you will be done with that one. If you are on Windows. Anyone who has successfully downloaded and run that one? Yeah, Kunal, just download the zip file. Maybe yes, this one. Joseph, you can see this curl, and when you press just curl, you will find this one. No problem, Andy. Okay, Joseph, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. It means you are done with that one. So again, for those who are just, oh, Daniel, you don't find so you can just, as I said, you can download this zip. Okay, don't worry about the executable. Don't worry about the executable. Daniel, you have got this download it from that one, extract that file, and then you go to your command prompt and just type this curl. Daniel, just do that. Karim, you can see that as well. Karim, did you install something or just extracted that file? Yes, you don't need to execute. Karim, that's excellent. Wonderful, wonderful. Any McDonald's, you should be happy that McDonald's you are getting 50 kbps. Okay. All right. So now I will leave all of you over here with this discussion today. And what I'll do is that I need all of you to just download this card, and I will start from this point onward, because there we have. So no worries. You have to just select that zip file and just install that one. Just download that one and extract that, and you will have your curl working with that one. Yes, Farid, I will share these notes. Don't worry. I'll share these notes. Don't worry. So I'll start from this point onwards in our next class on Thursday, and I will share these notes. And not for this week, Daniel. There is no assignment right now, but after Thursday's class, I might give you some practice questions that you will be following. So for today, I'll be just stopping here. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion, and I hope you learned something new today. And I hope that next class will be, yes, it would be more fun, because we'll start JavaScript. We'll just see lots of interesting things in that JavaScript. Oh, Aryan, I will share the link of this recorded lecture. Don't worry, I'll share the link of this recorded lecture. Right? So Chirag, thank you very much, and Irina, thank you very much, and enjoy your day, and see you on Thursday, everyone. So just put up an exit ticket, and you can all just leave the meeting. Thank you, and bye, everyone.